just broke my ankle, for those who are wondering. So I'm sitting here just, trying to convalesce, I guess.
Ouch.
Okay, now one second here.
Nice tour of the kitchen.
Thank you. I feel like Rachel Ray, but I'm not the really person involved.
Okay, now you're crooked. Oh, there you are.
Yeah, I'm very. I'm very. Okay. It's not gonna work. Okay. Okay. Here's Amy from Stronghouse Inn.
Hi.
I'm gonna have to move this. And leave that.
Are you going to post this online afterwards?
Hi, Elaine.
The goal is that you're recorded, yes.
Everybody's muted.
Okay, so yeah, I have services at 6:30, so I'm kind of trying to be in two places at once. I was hoping to record it.
We will record.
Okay, and you'll let us know where it's posted. That'll be great. Thank you so much.
Hi, Amy, Stronghouse. Where's DJ tonight? Oh. And Heidi, you look like you're on a beach. Or she's left the room, one of the two. And hello to Carrie and Laura. Hi, welcome back. We've got more people coming in.
Okay, is anybody gonna sing a song or something?
Oh, you didn't get the memo, Kathy. That's your job until everybody gets in.
Okay. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas everywhere. Okay, we're done.
Mary, you can play guitar in the back. You know that. Okay. So while everybody's clicking in, if you're new to Zoom, Deborah, I'm going to put you to work again. Could you call Liz Markowski and tell her how to get on?
Yeah.
Hi, Catherine.
Hey, I'm sparkling here. I got this
Me too.
massive ring on. And I have these shoes on, but who can see that, right? And you're bright red, Julie. I love it.
Well, actually, it's hot pink, but I got a little bit of blizzle on.
Okay, you got the bling going. Excellent.
I had to dig real deep to find it because I've got my bedroom slippers on.
Okay, good. So we're in good company.
I thought the rule of thumb for these things were that you were wearing pajama bottoms and everything from your hips down.
Nobody's going to stand up. That's it.
Yes.
Linda, I recognize you, Linda, right next to your daughter, honey.
We're supposed to be working, but we're avoiding the kitchen for a minute at Mary's.
Are you at Mary's?
Mhm.
Uh-oh. We won't tell the owners.
Kathy,
Hi, honey.
how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well, thanks.
I want to walk with you soon.
Text her the information. All right, so, And we got Karen Peterson. Okay, and I got one person having a little problem getting on, so just talk amongst yourselves and I'll get her situated.
There's all kinds of people.
Hey, MJ, you made it.
Yeah, we did. Hello.
Hello. We're waiting
Very
to let you
fortuitous
know.
walk today. Yes.
It was a long walk, but I'm glad that we got out.
Glad you made it.
Hi, Diane Stein.
Wait, come. Hi. Hi, how are you guys?
Mary.
No, it's Mark. Hi, Peter.
Tell her I just sent a text.
Hi, Diane.
Sent her a text.
Hi, Diane.
Hi, guys.
Hi, Sarah.
Yeah, did she get the email?
Hi, Bob.
Clicks on the text.
Hi, Molly. Hi,
did.
Heidi.
Mary.
Oh, yeah, no problem.
I don't know Hillary Nipple.
Yeah, I think so too. I think he was just, hungover from the.
Okay,
Come
everybody,
in.
welcome Liz Markowski. So while we're getting started, we've got a couple more people who are trying to get on right now. Speak up if you're talking from out of state. There's a few people whose area codes looks like you're from somewhere else, but maybe you summer in Basin Harbor or.
Maybe you could ask everyone to mute themselves.
Good idea. All right, and there you go. Raise your hand if you're from like from Baltimore tonight or something. If you're from out of state, raise your hand. Like, hi, Madeline. But you grew up here, right?
I grew up in Waltham, yes. I'm in Colorado now, though.
Good, good. And Kate Mather?
Yep.
Hi.
Hi. I'm visiting my parents. My mom, MJ, and my dad, Chip, just moved up here from Maryland.
Oh, wonderful. I love your background.
Thank you. Harry Potter themed.
Okay, well, Sarah, on my screen, I don't see Chef right here. So he's our star, but, oh, there he is.
I'm here, just waiting for you guys to finish
You're waiting. Okay, well, I should get going then, shouldn't I?
Yep.
So anyway, I think you probably all know me by now. Hi, Lillian and Bob. I'm Julie with the Vergennes Partnership, and I'm absolutely delighted that Basin Harbor agreed to be a host for our first Festive Friday. It's quite a risk because this is new technology for all of us. So just bear with us. If I do something screw up, I apologize in advance. So we talked a little bit about the housekeeping already, but so once Chef gets going, why don't you put yourself on mute? And then if you do have a question or something, there's a live chat going on. Or if you don't know how to use the chat, just wave your hand that you need some kind of explanation about what Chef is doing or something like that. If you want to see close-ups of what Chef's doing, I would encourage you to use the speaker view versus the gallery view. But if you just want to see a bunch of girlfriends in the screen, like keep the gallery view on. And so if you'd like to, if you have any questions that you don't want to put in the chat but want to speak during this, hit the little raise your hand button. And I think Sarah will describe a little bit better how to do that because she's better at that than I am. And if you have questions along the way, please, please ask then, but there'll also be a little bit of time for Q&A at the end of the session. So in a moment, I'm going to hit, I got one more person to let in. In a moment, I'm going to hit the record button. So God willing, we'll be able to view this afterwards and things for all the participants. So hopefully that you're comfy in your own home, perhaps a cocktail and glass of wine in your hand, or maybe you're in the kitchen working up on some of the recipes that you got last night. But wherever you are, I hope you have a good time. And at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Sarah.
All right, thank you very much, Julie. Hi, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us today. Today I'm sitting here in my kitchen today, and I got the week off from everything else. And, you know, thanks to the lovely Basin Harbor. You know, I asked that we make this as interactive and special and exciting for you as well as much as it is for me. I got a couple beautiful bottles of wine to kind of go with some pairings here. I did do two different dishes, but both of the dishes are kind of meant to kind of be together as one as well. So anything that you see me talking about, there's a few different items here that maybe you don't normally see in the regular grocery store, or maybe you don't quite understand that's in the recipe. I think, like Julie said, just use the protocol, raise your hand. I'm happy to stop, and we'll talk a little bit about knife techniques and some little bit of the recipe and certain types of things that I use. If you have any questions about my history, where I've been, who I've worked for, and what I've done in the last 38 years, I'm happy to answer any and all those questions as well at the same time. Make it fun, make it exciting, make it interactive. Don't allow me to just sit here and cook in front of you and make some dish and show it to you. So, okay. All right, let's start off. So today we sent out the recipes, right? We're gonna do that a beautiful soft goat cheese polenta. One of the additional items that's not on the recipe that we're going to use is a mascarpone cheese. Those of you that don't know what mascarpone cheese is essentially like a looser type of cream cheese that's made with the addition of acid to cream, making it coagulate and become smooth. All the butter, and some of the cheeses. One of the goat cheese today is not a Vermont derivative goat cheese because it's called a boucheron. Boucheron is a 5 to 10 week aged French style goat cheese where it's a bloomy rind. What does bloomy rind mean? Bloomy rind is it ripens from the outside in, and there's it's basically the mold of the cheese is it goes on the outside. It can't hurt you to kill you or kill you to eat it, but it's not the most palatable thing that you want to eat. So I'll be using that as well. So one of the big things that I'm going to get started on first is you'll see it's called a beurre monté. Beurre monté is a water to a half a pound of butter. So what that does is you boil the water first, and you slowly add in the knobs of butter. When you add in the knobs of butter, it helps to smooth that out and create a nice viscous sauce per se, but not really a sauce. About a half a teaspoon of salt into it to start. Absolutely. So my background is I've been doing this for a few years, let's just call it. I started my tenure, as a lot of us do, as a dishwasher. But long story short, I guess my grandfather used to sell skis, and he sold skis to this very high level master French chef in New York State. A very high energy youth at the time, and I kind of asked Jean Morel was his name to just beg him to give me a job. I started washing dishes at 13 and 14, and the rest is history. I was making at those and passion. I knew that my passion was in culinary. I traveled to France. I worked in the south of France for Roger Vergennes, three Michelin star. Came back to the United States, kind of fast forward, worked at a #1 restaurant in the country at the Phoenician in Scottsdale. And then a big resort in Lenox called Cranwell Resort, Tudor Mansion, Forbes 5-star, 110 room resort, 4 restaurants. Was the chef there for 10 years. My mom had passed away, so kind of got out of the business just for about 6 months, 8 months. A little bit of a guilt trip. My kids were little at the time, so I wanted to kind of spend some more quality time back with my children again. Just wanted to just get back to it. Went down to New York City, worked at 2 Michelin-star restaurant, Michelin. Came back, missed my kids so much, so I had to come back. Came back and a great opportunity came up at the Orchards Hotel and became the corporate executive chef for a company called Hay Creek Hospitality within the Northeast. They had several Relais Chateau, small inns, 4 or 5 diamond properties. I was with them for almost 8 years. Difficulties, with change of ownership and management. I decided to move on. My mentor, Terrence, at the time, was some financial hardships of the club. The state decided the club should close because of some financial issues. We closed the club and started to work for David Burke out of New York City, and mostly based over in Saratoga. Did a lot of traveling, restaurant opening, hotel opening, things like that for him, and just got to be too much. And I missed my family, and I'm 52 years old and been in the limelight. I've been on Food Network 3 or 4 times on some of the competition shows, and I've just kind of, to be honest with you, I love cooking, I love the business, I love what we do, but I got sick of the rat race, and I wanted to see my family. So this opportunity came up to be a part of Basin Harbor's family, and the rest is history. So kind of make the beurre monté. Sarah, just tell me if you can see that okay. So you watch the way it coats the back of the spoon and runs off the spoon. That's kind of perfect, right? So what I did is I just basically steamed that little bit of water, and then I slowly added the butter. Okay, Sarah, you see that okay?
I can. It's thinner than I thought it was going to be from reading the recipe.
Yep. So it's going to go into a pan that's already being made, and then whatever water is left that it's in it will evaporate back out.
Chef, I recently learned that a recipe that just says butter means unsalted butter and not salted butter. Can you talk a little bit about why you would use unsalted? I mean, you already put salt in the dish. Why wouldn't you just use salted butter?
Right. So I think that the salt that's used in butter is because the butter is in the cream that's used is a bit inferior to it. So They do salt the butter for that reason. Your butter's a much better quality, number one, of the unsalted butter on the grade level of grading, and then also you want to control the butter. You want to control the salt seasoning yourself. You don't want to do anything allow them to salt it for you because you don't know that level of salt. So we'll talk a little bit about the garlic that we did. We like to do garlic and shallots in this way. Those of you, it's called a confit style, right? So what you're doing with it is, this is in the oil right now, but it grazes real slowly before the video for about 45 minutes to an hour. It takes the bitterness out of the garlic, so the only thing that's left is that sweet flavor of garlic. So I'm just going to chop up some shallots. We're gonna get started actually first on the polenta actually. So polenta is about a 1 to 5, 1 to 4.5 ratio. It's in that recipe. It's 1 cup of polenta to 5 cups of water to the salt. Again, I'll refer back to that. But make that pretty regularly in my last job. So yeah, so it's 1 cup of polenta to 5 cups of water. So I'm not going to use 5 cups of water and 1 cup of polenta, but I'll use about a half a cup, 3 cups. We'll get that going.
So Chef, before everybody joined us, Julie was saying that Mark had tried these recipes earlier in the day and got some pretty clumpy or lumpy polenta. What are we going to be doing? Because the stove is a little further away from the screen. I want to make sure everyone understands exactly like the very intentional things you're doing versus like, you can just let this roll and it'll be fine. There are certain things that you're going to be doing to make sure that it really comes together the way that you want it to, right?
Well, I think that Julie's husband has to follow the recipe. But the reason for the clumping really is just not enough liquid to start, right? There has to be enough liquid to start to be able to incorporate all of the polenta at one time. Also, you should use, other than this multicolored whip, you should absolutely always use a whip for the initial incorporation of the polenta into the liquid. Okay. I like to put this, not in the recipe, but I like to put a little bit of grapeseed oil in with it as well. Again, and then our salt as well into that.
A little what? A little Greek, a little what?
Grapeseed oil.
Oh yeah, grapeseed oil.
Oil, yeah. So we use grapeseed oil a lot. And the reason for grapeseed oil is really because there's no flavor to it. You don't, one misconception, right, is people oftentimes like to use olive oil for cooking, right? So olive oil is really working for the individuals I worked for in the past. Olive oil is just is made and originated for dressings and not really for cooking purposes, right? So an olive is pressed in a cold state, it's not heated, to extract all of the oil from the olive. So it never really has an intention to, from my perspective, to ever be cooked.
Chef, we have a question on what brand of polenta you're using, or if it matters.
I use a Red Mill, which is a Vermont-based company that grows their corn and processes all their corn.
And Chef, do you keep your oils in the fridge or on the counter?
On the counter, always.
What if you don't cook a lot?
Well, with the grapeseed oil, it's not going to go stale. The olive oil might if you don't use it in a matter of a few months.
And what kind of stove are you cooking on? I see a purple ring.
Oh yeah, it's just a Kenmore electric stove. I'm using beautiful Montreal stainless steel pans. It's all being done on a electric Kenmore stove. This is a stove that when we built our house 16 years ago, we put in here. So it's time for an upgrade.
Chef, we have a question on your preference or the difference between a silicone or coated whisk and a stainless steel whisk that.
This is not my preference. Silicone is not my preference. I'm very old school, so I prefer absolutely a stainless steel whisk. This just happens to be what my wife has around.
Chef, are the wines that you choose to pair with this readily available in the Vergennes area, or do you have to order them online?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Are the wines that you choose to pair with it readily available in Vergennes? And if not, can you get them online?
I believe that these two particular wines I bought right from a local store here close by me. So I believe they should be available.
Thank you.
So real important when you're doing a polenta, right, is that you're whipping it as you're slowly putting it in, okay? So we're kind of slowly whipping it, or while we're slowly adding the polenta into it. Then hence no lumps, okay? And then again, you're gonna see where it comes to when how thin it is right now. You'll be very pleasantly surprised in how thin it is right now compared to exactly where it's gonna cook until. All right.
Chef, have you ever made polenta in a microwave?
Nor am I ever going to. I imagine it's doable, or conceivable for sure. So here's how thick the polenta is, right? You see that? You see that?
No.
No.
Help me with seeing what? Oh, there you go.
See it? See how thin that is?
So a little higher, Chef.
A little higher, got it.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay, very thin. Right, and then what we're gonna do while we're cooking it, when it turns down, it's just gonna bubble up like crazy. While we're cooking it, we're not gonna whisk it anymore. We're gonna use a wooden spoon or a plastic spoon or whatever, because what that polenta is gonna start doing is it's gonna start pulling away from the edge. Kind of like you would do if you were cooking a pâte à choux or something like that. Couple wines I chose today, guys, while this is cooking. I thought would be really ideal for this. So this is the Chateau Bonnet. See that okay? So that's a white Bordeaux. This is a vineyard that's been around since 1580. It's changed hands into different families several times through it. It's a new fresh barrel oak aged. Got some notes of pineapple in it, some high acidity. Go really nicely with this dish with the salty prosciutto, the goat cheese, and the dates. Also, another wine we chose is a Fleur de Paris. The Fleur de Paris is a southern French wine of the Provençal region. It is a rosé, if you can't tell. Can people see that okay?
Lift it up a little bit.
Okay.
Nice.
So,
so Sarah's putting the names of the wines in the chat for anybody that is looking in the chat.
Great. So very floral. The fleur is the flower, right? So floral, nice balance of acid, little honeysuckle. Again, really nice with this dish. So as our polenta is cooking, we're going to add our Parmesan cheese at the end. We have the goat cheese as well. We're going to add a little bit of some fresh herb to kind of go with that. I'm going to use a little rosemary and a little fresh sage. And we're going to put all of that rosemary and that fresh sage right in right in whole, so we can extract it whole. Very important thing when you're really working in the higher end kitchens and stuff is that we don't chop. We don't spend time chopping herbs and chops into small little bits and they get caught into your teeth. We like to put them in as an infusion of flavor, and just so that you get the essence and the flavor and the oil that's extracted from the herb, but not those small little bits and pieces that are left on your palate. Ones are starting to cook. I'm gonna pour a little wine. Hope everybody else is drinking a little bit as well.
Chef, earlier you talked about I think the consistency that you wanted the polenta to come to. Did you refer to that as a pat a choux, or something else you said? We didn't quite hear you.
Yeah, so I referred it to like a pat a choux because when it's cooking, with pat a choux, when pat a choux is cooking, it starts to pull away from the edges. You know, because it's flour when you're cooking it, that flour starts to pull from the edges. So with this will be the same with the polenta, is when it's fully cooked, a great way to know and tell is that polenta will start pulling away from the edges, and I'll show you. Oh, okay.
So Chef, earlier I got the impression that you're not a big microwave fan. How do you feel about an Instapot?
So much, right? Because I just feel like the microwave, you know, it takes away a lot of nutrients, a lot of good for you, you know, that belongs in all these whole foods, right? When you're cooking great fresh food, it's just really hard to do that. So one thing I did with the Vermonte is I put my shrimp shells in it as well. Can you see that or no? Let me see if I can get this out. So just kind of put the shrimp shells in it because it's a shrimp dish. I'm going to try to fully extract some of those flavors from it as well. I'm going to slowly steep the shrimp shells in that Vermonte.
Hey, Chef.
Yeah.
In the recipe, it says do not stir the polenta for the entire time that it's cooking, but you seem to be stirring it.
Yeah, I stir it. I do. Yeah.
Okay.
We're cooking on a little different stove as well. We can, when we're in the professional kitchens, we put them on a French top, and we put what's called a cartouche on top. The cartouche is a piece of paper that has kind of a hole in it, like a little steam hole, to let the steam hole to escape. And it'll create a film on top, and that film we pull off, and it's perfectly cooked. But that's a real controlled stove and controlled environment for that. These stoves are not so controlled. They're delicious. So now I can show you you can see, it's going to be really hard to see this, but if you can see this, these fresh herbs now. Can you see that? Someone speak up.
Yes, we can. The pot is like half in the camera, so you can raise it. There we go.
All right, so now I'm able to just pull these herbs out. And you're not left with little bits of herbs stuck in your mouth. Right? We got a little smell-o-vision on that thing. Again, the shrimp shells are going to start to kind of turn that shrimp color. You know, that red pinkish color, and the smell and the flavor for that will pull right out of there, and delicious. Wow, really good. So one thing to be sure, right? So everything that you do when you're doing it, taste everything along the way, from the beginning stages all the way through the end. I tell my chefs and my cooks that it's imperative that they taste things all along the way and all as they go. I'm gonna add my Parmesan cheese to the end here. Polenta. So I use a Parmesan Reggiano, nice aged. The goat cheese is gonna come in kind of towards the end on this. Nice and smooth, pulling away from the edge a little bit. It's really gonna be hard for me to show you that. But one thing you're gonna see is kind of how smooth this is. Let me try to get you to see this. Let's just see how smooth that is. Can you see that, Sarah?
Yes, Chef, are you making two different Bermontes, or did you put the shrimp shells into the only Bermonte that you have on the stove?
I put the shrimp shells into the only Bermonte I have on the stove. So Sarah, you'll be able to see this a little better and see how it thickens right up as well a little bit. Yeah. See that?
Very nice.
So that's your consistency of Vermonte. We're gonna start cooking our shrimp a little bit here. I'm gonna set the polenta aside. So then we're gonna also brown up a little bit of goat cheese. So I told you a little bit about the boucheron goat cheese and a little bit about what it is. We're gonna cut up a little bit of shallots here for the shrimp. Hope everybody, you want to have a good holiday and good Thanksgiving. I myself cooked 2,400 pounds of turkeys that last week.
Chef, why don't you tell everyone where you were? Because that wasn't all just for your family, right?
No, no, definitely not. So, working with David Burke in the past and being one of his corporate chefs, he calls me back for special events like this, and I was down in Manhattan for the week, for 2 weeks, preparing for Thanksgiving for 2,400 people. So again, we're heating up our pan a little bit. A couple things, really, really important are, don't over smoke your oil. Don't get stuff too hot. There is that finite line, right? That you don't want to get stuff too hot, but just hot enough is the right temperature, right? What is the right temperature? I don't know. I can't really give you that. But what I can tell you is that pan should sizzle a little bit with the product that's going in it. You don't want to burn your product as well at the same time, right? Can you guys hear that?
Hey, Chef.
Yeah.
It's Molly. What's the price point on those wines that you displayed?
The Chateau Bonnet was. Hi, Molly. How are you?
Good, Chef.
That Chateau Bonnet was, I think it was like $16, I think, and the Fleur was like 18, I think.
Nice, thanks.
So Brian's not watching.
He's working.
Oh.
Always.
Of course. Again, we try to salt everything. So I like to always salt my proteins in a season. And please, guys, go into your cabinets, take all of your boxes of iodized salt and throw them in the garbage.
Chef, we have a very winter, snowy, icy season ahead. That's great for putting on the front walkway and de-icing. Right.
You can keep it for that reason, for sure. But iodized salt is non-chef approved. Again, something very important, right, while we're doing our protein is to not overcook your protein, particularly shrimp. Shrimp should be just barely cooked, barely curled over. I know it calls for marjoram in the recipe, but unfortunately my local stores did not have marjoram. And most likely your stores in Vergennes wouldn't have it either. I'm just going to use some fresh thyme. Again, whole sprigs again. Whole sprigs go right in the dish. Okay? If you want, all you want is that flavor, that's fine. So there's our. Sarah, you see that?
I do. Chef, you've opened a can of worms with this salt discussion. So what kind of salt are we to use, and can you use iodized salt for baking?
Iodized, no, iodized salt, there's an intense chemical process that goes on with the making of that. So I would defer and say that you shouldn't use it in any scenario, right? So that's going to caveat into my next statement, right? And then when you're working in the French kitchens in these really high level Michelin-starred places, salt is the #1 ingredient in your recipes, right? So salt does one thing. So all my chefs, all my cooks that have worked for me for the past 30+ years know that I don't use pepper unless I feel like a dish calls for pepper. So salt does one thing. Salt enhances flavor. Pepper adds a flavor component to it. So it should never be all about salt and pepper. Salt, if you want the flavor properties of black pepper or white pepper or whatever in your dish, then you should use that. I've heard that Thomas Keller is saying the same thing in his master class now. I didn't learn that from him, and he didn't learn it from me. But it's something that a mentality that is in that world that really helps elevate those flavors. So back to the baking scenario. So salt, has a very high level of importance to everything. So, you should have that little bit of salt in your chocolate chip cookies, because when you put that salt in there, that's going to really enhance that flavor of chocolate in that cookie. So what I did with the pan with the shrimp is I let it cool down just a little bit, because I don't want to put my shallots and my garlic in it while it's super blazing hot. I'm going to add in my chopped shallots to it. Put it back on the stove for a little bit, and then I'm going to come over. I'm going to grab my garlic. Everybody remembers what that garlic confit looks like. I'm going to add my garlic confit to that as well. I'm going to use that garlic oil. We double down with that. I'm going to use that for the searing of my goat cheese. Again, really important, right? I wish you could smell this. It's beautiful. Really important. You can look here, and I can hopefully show you, is that we're not browning any of the vegetables that are in it. All we're doing with it is we're sweating the vegetables, right? We're sweating the vegetables. What sweating means that we're helping to enhance the flavor of the vegetable by caramelizing some of the inner sugars that are in it. So I'm going to add chop up some dates.
Hey, Chef, it's Karina. What's up?
Whoa, what? You're really not showing me your face? That's just.
I'm wearing like a sweatshirt. I didn't get my festive attire going. So I noticed a question in the chat, and some folks prefer beer to wine. So do you have any thoughts on that? I just did a quick search, read about Pilsner doing well with prosciutto.
Yeah,
wheat beers, Hogarden.
Beers as well, and I think that a great Pilsner would go really well with this, because it's not heavy, it's light, it's a little, the reason for this dish. This isn't a dish that I came up with. This is a dish that I saw in the south of France quite often in the homes. This is dates, and oftentimes figs are used, and then prosciutto. So you got a little sweet, you got a little salty. So you don't want any IPAs or any heavier or any brown ales or Guinness, if you will, Sarah, to kind of interrupt with the flavors here and get in the way.
I like how you said Sarah after Guinness.
She showed me a can of Guinness earlier. So So kind of tear up my prosciutto a little bit and just add it in there a little bit. So it's really going to have some nice sweet and salty components to this. And you know, we're just about there. I mean, this is like, man, I can't wait to eat this. You kidding me? Can everybody see that okay? Sarah?
Yeah, so while you have it up in front of the screen, we have dates in there, shrimp. Tell me what we got going on in there.
Dates, shrimp, whole herb, fresh thyme. I have not put the Vermonte in it yet. Shallots in that garlic confit. I'm going to do a quick squeeze of lemon at the end. And I'm going to add my Vermonte, and I'm going to reduce it out a little bit. So again, we're sweating it just a little bit. Again, just to kind of activate some of the protein that's in the prosciutto. I'm going to just squeeze a little lemon in there. Probably enough for one full lemon in it. Again, I don't like to cook the lemons. I like to pull it right off. And I'm going to add my Vermonte to it while it's settling down here a little bit. Strain out the shrimp shells, of course, as we do it. Beautiful. Got one in there. So I'm going to come back to you and show you again here what we left with. You can see that sauce in the bottom there.
Yes.
Kind of perfect amount of sauce to kind of go with it. Right. What did I say? We're gonna taste everything along the way. Yes, I salted my protein, but I also salted my protein knowing that I was gonna add prosciutto at the end. Perfect. Keep that right off the range. Now I'm gonna brown up that goat cheese. I'm gonna put my beautiful polenta. I'm gonna put that back on the range. Not on the recipe, but you guys can please write it in. One of my favorite things to do is to add some mascarpone cheese into it. So I would probably say about 2 tablespoons added to that recipe of mascarpone just to finish. Again, you don't want to cook out mascarpone. You just want to heat it up a little bit. You can heat it up a little bit to help kind of meld in with all the rest of those flavors. Right. Beautiful. We're getting a pan a little bit hot here to get brown up this goat cheese. My kid wants to eat. I'm going to make her clean up. Strongly suggest that.
Chef, where are your dogs?
Oh, they're in there. There's 2 of them. They're sitting at the door because I haven't fed them yet.
Chef, can we see that cheese before you put it in the pan? I don't think people know what it looks like.
Anybody see that now, or can you see that?
Looks great. So it's definitely got a rind around it.
It does. Has that bloomy rind, yes. So we're just kind of hitting that in the pan real little bit. Enough for it to brown up just a touch. All right. Now we're gonna plate up. Got some beautiful Rene Azario bowls. Not like as good as yours, Penny, but nice. Put a little polenta right in the bottom of that bowl. Perfect consistency. Runs right out. Nice way to tell really nice consistency on the polenta, right? Is that it kind of stands up a little bit, but it also runs. Can you see the way it runs? It's running away. Yeah. See it? Okay.
Oh yeah, looks good to us.
Whose idea was it to have this during dinner time?
we're gonna take, on top of that polenta, you can see the cheese. See how the cheese, that we browned it a little bit? See that?
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna put that right on top of the polenta. And I'm gonna put my shrimp on there, right on top. Shrimp and prosciutto, nice sauce with the dates. The dogs want this for dinner.
Chef, this is a low calorie recipe.
100%.
Could you
All right.
pass that through the computer?
Huh? Oh, you want me to serve it to you through the computer? Can everybody see it?
Pass that through the computer.
Yeah. Can everybody see it okay? Sarah, can you see it?
You put it a little higher, Chef.
Just a touch higher.
So I'm able to tip it, but there's not, it means there's not too much sauce in it, right? So I can tip it just enough till the sauce runs out, but it's not overkilling the sauce because you don't want to,
Looks beautiful. It is, yeah, it looks delicious.
Chef, we'll be over, Chef.
I'm only 3 hours away. I'll save you some.
Well, if you spill it on the floor, your dogs will love you even more.
Oh yeah.
We're in the car.
I was gonna say the dogs are gonna really like their supper tonight.
They're looking at me over the gate like, dude, what's going on over there?
Awesome job, Chef. I'd love to open it up for anyone to use their video and ask questions. We'll try and do this in an orderly fashion. And if you want to put your hand up if someone else is talking, and we will try and get through any questions that anyone might have.
Don't be shy.
Jeff, I want to thank you for this. This is very interesting, and I definitely will be trying it.
Please let me know how it works out for you, please.
Okay, thank you.
So and Chef, you cook the polenta the whole time, right?
Pretty much, yeah. About probably 12 or probably 15 minutes worth. I took it off.
So I'm just wondering, it seems like that's an incredible amount of flavors for just one dish.
Yeah. Well, the polenta is very bland, not bland, right? Salty enough, but really you have just the overtone of corn with that sweet saltiness from the prosciutto and the sweetness and the musty and smokiness from the dates.
I guess I'll have to taste it to know for sure.
Who's speaking? I'm sorry, I don't know you.
Bob Ford, I own Kennedy Brothers in Vergennes.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, and I think Kathy had her hand raised.
Yeah, I don't own anything, but I have a question.
I got you. Don't worry, that's fine.
Hey, Chef. I cook with olive oil all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Probably because of my Italian heritage, and I get it from the south of Italy. But I want to know, you cook with oils that might not have that high. I want to know what I can cook with on my stovetop that is not going to smoke. I mean, what is an oil or oils that are less smoky and have a less higher smoke value, whatever?
Right, so I think grapeseed is good for sure, but canola canola is always going to have the highest smoke point.
Yeah, I don't like canola though. Okay, okay. All right. Like, what about avocado?
Go to you. I mean, I think avocado again. I think is more. I wouldn't cook with avocado oil. I would. It's more of a dressing oil as well to me.
Okay, okay. All right.
I mean, grape. I would go to grapeseed then. That's probably the second.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, sure.
Chef, since moving to Vermont, are there any Vermont products that you have surprised you about their value or their wonderfulness?
I love the dairy in Vermont. Even when I was working in New York City and Manhattan, in some of the places there, in the Michelin-starred restaurants, they use Vermont dairy for quite a lot of items. So they're always very impressed with Vermont dairy.
Good. And then there's a question from Janice. Review what the goat cheese with a rind question, put on top of the polenta at the end, but not served with the polenta as the final dish with the shrimp. Maybe Janice, you can explain what you're asking?
Sure. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So I'm familiar with like feta cheese, but I'm not familiar with a goat cheese with the rind. But it looked like from your picture that you were setting it on top of the polenta in the pot. Was that for it to melt in? But then did you take that off when you were taking your final scoops of polenta out before you put the rest of the product, the shrimp and all, on top?
So when I did make the polenta, I added some mascarpone, and then I put it in the bowl, and I cooked and seared that piece of goat cheese, which you're able to do with the bloomy rind because it's much drier than the goat cheese. Put that on top, and then the shrimp on top of that.
Oh, so that cheese, I'm assuming it's a hard cheese if it has a rind, or is it a soft cheese?
It's not hard, but it's not soft either.
Okay, so it has body, and it sits on top of the polenta in the dish with the shrimp on top of it.
That is correct, yes.
Got it. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Chef, if you don't like goat cheese, can you use something else?
I think you could feta, you could omit it, you could use feta, you could use really whatever cheese that you like and you desire, for sure.
Julie will see you. Chatter.
Peter has a question.
Yes.
Pescarino.
Chef, when did you add the garlic?
The garlic.
I didn't see that when you were putting the dish together.
The garlic confit, when I was after I sweated the shrimp and I cooked the proteins a little bit, I took it off and I added the shallot and that garlic confit to it.
Ah, okay.
Important note is to never brown that, right? Because the garlic and the shallot can get better when you brown it.
Yes. Thank you.
So I think that probably ends our questions, but Sarah, when's Basin Harbor opening? Tell us something like that we have to look forward to.
Yes, we're thrilled to be here in the community, but are also very thankful to be closed for the winter months right now. So we'll be reopening in May. And as we get closer, we'll have more details about different restaurants that are opening, events and activities. So if you don't already follow us on social media, you can also sign up via our website for our email blast that might be going out. But we will be forthcoming as much as public information unfolds on what we learn we're all able to do. But hope everyone has a very safe and happy holiday ahead.
So this is Penny. I'm here. For those of us who are heretics, and we have made polenta for years and years in our microwave. If anybody would like that recipe, email me Penny PNNIE at basinharbor.com, and I'll share it with you. It's a Barbara Kafka recipe that I've seriously been using since the 80s.
At least 84.
Yeah, at least. So I mean, it's really foolproof. You don't have to be stirring it forever.
Mary wants it. Mary wants it.
All right, so for those of you that got the recipes and the registered, I'll certainly, there'll be a follow-up. There'll be a follow-up with perhaps a couple edits to the recipes, as well as Penny Beach's super duper polenta in the microwave recipe, okay? So we kind of jumped the gun a little bit about Chef in terms of introducing him, but I'll just say that I met Chef during a very, very, very cold day in February before we did not even know the word COVID or Zoom, or at least I didn't. And anyway, we're just thrilled to have you here in the community, and we look forward to a 2021 summer where we all get to like see each other, the entire face, and have a good time. Whoops. We just lost Chef for a minute, so here I am telling about how wonderful he is. And he wasn't. But anyway, so I do want to close in saying that this Festive Fridays series is a continuation. This was the first one, so so thank you all for practicing with us. And next Friday night, we're going to be doing a cocktail. We're calling it COVID Cocktail, Making Spirits Bright, with our own Laura Mack from Lulu Ice Cream.
Dog is right there. He's right there.
Yes. And her father, Doug Mack, who we all know from the Inn at Baldwin Creek. And anyway, they're a great father-daughter duo, and I really, really, really look forward to that too. So there's a link on our website. The following week, the 18th, it's still in the making, but no offense to the men in the room, but it's a girls' night in, and we're going to be going from sheer cuts to Malabar to Blue Lily to Linda's and Creative Nails and who knows what else. But anyway, so stay tuned on that. You'll certainly get information on that, and they're all free and they're fun and festive, and that's the best we can do right now during COVID. So
I think Julie, it was great. Everything tonight was wonderful. We go like this. We had a great time. I have to say, a Friday night in December in Vergennes or whatever. Thank you, Chris. You're there somewhere.
I'm here. Yeah, I came back.
Thank you so much. I just want to say, as the participant, how much I appreciated it. And don't stop now. We've got plenty of Friday nights that are.
Yes.
Hello.
Yeah, this was great, Julie. Thank you for arranging it, and thank you, Chef. It's been great fun.
Yeah, my pleasure. We'd love to kind of do a continuum on it. I'm kind of, maybe you guys can give some ideas, and I'm happy to do anything. If you want, you want me to make pasta one day, or some other things other days, some things that you guys would really have fun, that some of you may say, geez, I've always wanted to make this, but I've never really known how.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Great idea.
Looking forward to next weekend, next Friday with Doug and Laura.
Yes.
Thank you.
We'll have to modify everything to be microwavable.
No, don't. I don't have one.
Each of them will have this, yeah.
Penny,
Just for Penny.
Penny, you share that microwave recipe with Mary.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
All right. Good night, everyone. Thank you.
Good night. All right, everybody. Thank you. Good night.
Happy holidays.